Hey there, Skullheads. I'm Snags.
And I'm old Silky.
And tonight we're finally going to do our Stevie Ray Vaughan episode after we recorded an entire episode um, a while back and the audio file was screwed up. We just spent a half an hour trying to get set up in the studio tonight. Before all that, we juggled it around in the schedule for months. So who knows? Maybe we'll actually get the Stevie Ray Vaughan episode done tonight.
Yeah, the long lost episode may rear
Yeah.
its head finally.
So but we do want to mention a couple things in the news. One thing in the news, a story I got, and then a family milestone over in Silky's house. But let's start with the news. Black and Blue Stones reissue coming up in about 50 days or something.
Yeah, something
Deluxe.
like that.
Yeah. Deluxe version. It's going to have six unreleased songs that are brand new to all of us. And then it looks like a full live album's like a full show or something.
Yeah, this would be a precursor to that amazing live at El Macambo uh, in '77. This would be the tour that they did the Love You Live uh, live album. But this is Ronnie Wood's first album with
Yeah,
the band.
cla- classic. Yeah. So the other thing we want to do is just say happy birthday to El Condor,
El
who is
Condor.
in the
Lean in here,
studio.
buddy.
When's his exact birthday? What's the day?
October 4th, he will be 11.
All right.
If he makes it, I may take him out
Yeah. El Condor in the house. Hey, El Condor, pimp the website, buddy.
with the website.
Check out snagsandsilky.com.
He's
Uh,
got a mouthful of Swedish fish, everybody.
Oh, there you go.
we got jackets, we got candy. Ah,
We said candy now. Is that
There
it?
we go. Snagsandsilky.com. Get your Snags and Silky candy.
Yeah,
Custom
get up in
branded.
your mouth.
you need to rephrase that.
I'm sorry.
I think it would probably be
Uh,
a good idea to rephrase that. Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, people would take that out of way.
way context.
Yeah.
So the old boy's 11.
Puberty hit me a lot faster.
Oh
I
boy,
got like 20 billion voice cracks in one
here we
sentence
go.
today.
Uh,
Okay.
Stevie Ray Vaughan tonight, buddy.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. Let's talk about
Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
All right, there he
And
goes. He's off.
just
All right.
Okay, shut the door. Wow, that was
Jesus Christ. All right. So before we before we jump into Stevie Ray Vaughan, I just got to tell a quick story. Um, a friend of mine was telling me there will be no names involved except for Gene Simmons.
aha.
But a friend of mine, he knows this guy who was running this event, this big corporate event in LA a few years back, probably 5 years back, something like that. And they had a budget to hire a celebrity. They had like 70 grand to hire a celebrity to come in and pump up the crowd. And so they're talking to this agent in LA, and one of the people on the list that he said I could try to get for you is Gene Simmons from Kiss. And they're like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome. See if we can get Gene Simmons." Well, Gene wanted 200. Gene came back and counter offered 200 grand. And they were like, "Well, 70 is all we got." And he's like, all right, I'll take the 70. It's Gene. He's gonna try, right? So he shows up, he pumps up the crowd, gets his 70 grand and takes off. But they kept in touch, and when Kiss came to uh I don't know, Butt, Idaho, or wherever this guy's family was from, somewhere out in the Midwest, Gene hooked him up with backstage passes and free tickets and all, the works. So this guy, he's about our age. He shows up with his wife, right? 5 years ago, this would have been they were in their late 40s or whatever. And
Okay.
they and his wife apparently is a real looker, like just smoking hot. And so They show up backstage, and he says Gene barely acknowledged him. Spends like they're hanging out with Gene for about 5 to 10 minutes. It's right after the show. Gene spends the whole time flirting with the guy's wife and barely even acknowledges him. And then as he's about to leave, he grabs her hand, puts it on his ass, and he goes, "You know what that is? That's the firmest 70-year-old ass you're ever gonna feel." And then he walks off.
Wow.
Gene
That's
Simmons, ladies and gentlemen.
that's
Gene
the
Simmons.
demon for you.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, I want to go back December 3rd, 1959. Buddy Holly, Big Bopper, Richie Valens. Buddy Holly was 22 years old, Clear Lake, Iowa. That plane went down. Everybody dies. Just a few years later, March 5th of 63, Patsy Cline, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and Cowboy Copas. Patsy was 30 years old, and this is Camden, Tennessee. Plane goes down, everybody dies. Um, then just 4 years later, December 10th of 67, Otis Redding, four members of his backup band and the Bar-Kays. Uh, 26 years old, Otis was, Lake Monona, Madison, Wisconsin. Plane goes down, everybody dies. Um, I'm starting to see a pattern. September 20th of 73, Jimmy Croce and Maury Mulason. Jim was 30 years old in Natchitoches Regional Airport in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Plane hit a pecan tree due to heavy fog. Um, and then, obviously, the big one we're getting to, October 20th of 77, Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, Cassie Gaines, their road manager, Dean Kilpatrick, and both pilots in Galesburg, Mississippi. Um, Plane goes down. Uh, Three key members of Leonard Skinner go. Um, I believe Artemis Pyle ran like 2 miles with his ribs jutting out to.
Yeah, ribs were sticking out of his chest, yeah.
Yeah.
And some farmer started shooting at him because he was running through his property.
Nice.
Yeah, so just to add, just in case his day wasn't bad enough.
You don't see the smoke in the sky. Let's just start shooting at
Right.
somebody. God damn. So August 27th of 90, Stevie Ray Vaughan, his bodyguard, pilot, tour manager, and agent Bobby Brooks. Stevie Ray Vaughan was 35 years old. This was in East Troy, Wisconsin, Alpine Valley Music Theater. Now, at the time, when it broke on the radio, you weren't sure who was killed, if anybody, and then it came back that it was Eric Clapton's helicopter, that it was Eric Clapton. It might have been Robert Cray. Everything was up in the air, and I remember thinking at the time, Stevie has not had his day just yet. He's like on the rise still. Um, I mean, he was big, but I just think the '90s would have been really really epic for him.
Yeah.
But and you had said his band members had seen him the night
Yeah.
before.
The story was they were all going to bed and they're like, "All right, well, we'll see everybody tomorrow." And then Stevie decided to stay up and party a little more, or he was sober, but hang out and socialize or whatever a little more. And then somebody's like, "Hey man, Chopper's leaving tonight if you want to get a jump on, you know." And he changed his mind after his band members went to sleep. So they went to sleep thinking he's spending the night in his room there. He
Sure.
changes his mind after they go to sleep. So the next morning, they wouldn't believe that it was him. And no, he's asleep. He went to sleep. No, come on, let's go to his room. I'll show you. They open the room, and gone. Everything's
That's
packed up,
just
he's gone. That's just when you have to face it that,
oh, yeah.
yeah.
So he was born October 3rd of 54, one day before El Condor. Um, and,
El Condor is the oldest 11-year-old on the planet.
yeah, October
Yeah.
4th was,
1954, apparently. Yeah.
no, well, the date anyway.
Okay.
He started playing guitar at 7, inspired by, his brother Jimmy, also Albert King, Otis Rush, Muddy Waters, Jimi Hendrix, Lonnie Mack, to name a few. Their dad, Big Jim, major alcoholic, um, PTSD back from World War II. Um, they moved around a bit, but the dad was, most people are different around their parents. Their dad comes in the room, oh shit, there's dad. Um, and, so he had a major effect on their childhood as just being a real violent individual. But music was a huge part of their childhood too. And they would have these parties at the house and people would play and stuff like that. Um, 1972, he drops out of high school and moves to Austin. Now, Austin is still a massive club scene, um, but he spent years on this local club circuit. And, you form a family. But even then, if you think about, I always go back to Morgan, where we were all banging around, going to see shows, doing stuff. And Morgan is just staying in his room, playing his drum set. And then we find out later that he's formed a band, Seven Dust.
Somebody's always gonna make it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just funny, but like, so with that in mind, you think about Stevie's playing guitar and crashing on couches and banging around and just has nothing. He's got, uh, you know,
Well, you
girlfriends are feeding him.
you gotta mention too, his what inspired him to get into playing guitar is his older brother, Jimmy.
Yeah, I did mention that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's kinda what inspired him, but Jimmy Vaughan in Texas, in Austin, in that scene, while they were both unknown nationally, Jimmy Vaughan was seen as the virtuoso,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
and Stevie was his little brother, but Jimmy was the guy,
yeah. And
which is interesting.
The Thunderbirds had albums in the '70s that are devoutly blues. There's no mistaking their intent, blues purists. Um,
Mhm.
and I did a playlist for those Thunderbird albums just for you to hear it. Uh, I it's they had a brief breakthrough in the '80s, and it was kind of '80s uh, style, not as we kind of shunned it to actually, but
Well, yeah, they had the hit with, "Wrap It Up," the
yeah.
Sam and Dave cover, and we wrote a parody song called "Prop It Up."
Yeah, and that's still
"Prop
a
it
classic.
up, I'll fuck
Oh,
it."
fuck it, yeah, yeah. Uh, a tremendous, cover that we did, um, back in the day. But, anyway, in '78, Chris Layton on drums, Tommy Shannon on bass, and, Stevie Ray Vaughan, they formed Double Trouble, and, they just owned Austin at that time. Um And, they had Marsha Ball singing with them, and she was, kind of a star in her own right, so it was as if she was taking Stevie under her wing, and they had her in the band, quite a while, and, I'm really glad they, uh, parted ways and, because they just It just is not the same, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he ended up with a, Jimi Hendrix Experience style lineup, until he added the
Totally.
keyboards a bit later, but just
Yeah,
him
Reese Winans.
wailing and singing, it was perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, now if yeah, I wanna point out to anybody who's not 100 on Stevie Ray Vaughan, Albert King put out a album called Livewire Blues Power, and, the song Blues Power just encapsulates Stevie's sound, but Stevie was so much more, but if you listen to that Blues Power, you're like, "Oh my god, that's Stevie, that's everything Stevie played." So, he was very much, channeling Albert King, you know,
Yeah,
uh
he loved all those guys, Lonnie Mack, BB King, Albert King.
yeah, Otis Rush,
Yeah.
but, and there's a great story where Albert King, um, asked Stevie for, like, 5 grand, and this would have been around, Stevie's 3rd album, something like that, Soul to Soul, and Stevie's like, "Well, yeah, here's 5 grand, what are you alright?" And he's, "Yeah, yeah, I just need to borrow that." And so he gives him 5 grand, and, a couple weeks go by, and Stevie sees Albert King back in the studio, and he's like, "Hey, you got that money I lent you?" And he's like, "What money?" And he's like, "The 5 grand." He goes, "I don't owe you 5 grand." And,
I'm Albert
Steve is like,
King, bitch.
"Right?" And Stevie is like, "Oh, okay." Because it was a slight, uh, nod that, you got all this playing my riffs, you know?
Yeah, that was
So,
just some royalties, bitch.
right? So I just thought that I love that story, but, so like I said, Stevie would sleep anywhere, bum around, no job, no car, just supported and loved by fellow Austin bandmates and friends. They would play Antone's, um, House of the Blue Home of the Blues, and, Antone's was like the place, and they would fill this bar. It's still, quite the, mecca there, um, but he, played with all his idols, Buddy Guy, Albert King, Hubert Summerlin. They would all come
Play
through
with a lot of people at Antone's.
Antone's, yeah.
It's really, happening.
So,
All right, everybody. So, we're going to interrupt the middle of this podcast real quick just to let you know that we're recording the second half of the podcast like a week later because the damn platform, the new platform, crapped out on us right in the middle of the show, and we were both so tired and exhausted. We, we just we just downloaded the first half, and we're going to stitch them together. We're not lying. This is the most
Yeah, this
jinxed
is
episode.
the cursed episode.
The most first the Peter Boyle episode took 3 attempts. This one's taken up to like 5 now or something. It's just insane.
Yeah,
It's
I
crazy.
we've pushed it. We've canceled other things.
Yeah, it was on the
And here we
schedule
are.
forever.
Yeah,
Wackadoodle. Stevie, the ghost of SRV does not want us talking about him. That's very clear.
madness, absolute
We're gonna
madness.
power through. What's next after Antone's? I believe we left
So
off talking
yeah,
about them jamming at Antone's.
so Antone's in Austin, Texas, and July 17th of '82, they get a chance to play the Montreux Jazz Festival. And so Stevie Ray Vaughan, Double Trouble, they play the jazz festival. And what you've got at these places are what I call the jazz heads, the snobs, the same type of people that booed Bob Dylan, um, these jazz festivals, um, and the folk festivals and
Kind of
things.
kind of
Just that,
people kind of people that gave The Elder a good review when it came out because it seems
so we've
smart.
worked the elder in. Um, No, but, just these people that won't allow for anything, out of the box, if you will, and so they play, and the set ends with boos, from the audience. Some of the audience, I think they still went over well. They You can't see Stevie Ray Vaughan and not remember it for the rest of your life. But at that audience, David Bowie was there in '82, and he uh, immediately saw a guitar player that he could use to play on his Let's Dance album.
There was also a producer, John Hammond Sr. was there, and he's the one who's working with Epic Records, brought him over to Epic as well. So that was a pivotal freaking gig for
Well,
him.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so so he does the David Bowie album, and there was a whole bunch of controversy there. And I know Snags can talk a little bit about that, but that album, Let's Dance, is number 296 in the 500 greatest albums of all time. It ranked number 4 in the US and number 1 in the UK. Um,
Yeah, I
and
mean, at the time, that was Bowie's big comeback album, you know? He had, he had dipped off the radar just a little bit after all that cool shit he did with Brian Eno, and, comes and it's like the early '80s, it's a whole new time, a whole new scene, and Bowie steps right in and makes his splash in that scene as well, and, uh, and Stevie was gonna tour with that band. He was gonna put Double Trouble on pause and tour with that band, and, basically, his manager wanted more money than Bowie's camp was willing to pay, and he ended up dropping out pretty close to the last minute just to focus on Double Trouble instead, which thank goodness he did because Bowie was fine. Bowie can grab some other player and go do that tour and
oh,
sell
totally.
cajillion. We need Stevie's story to keep moving ahead with the blues and Double Trouble, so that worked
Yeah,
out.
Bowie had those albums in the like 78 to
Dropped off again
82 were
because I told
pretty
him to
decent,
use
but
his
this was
fucking
definitely
phone,
a jump
and he
in with both
wouldn't listen
feet
to
back
me.
into the pop
And
scene,
so I'm gonna stay
MTV.
on here and just talk to you
It
cats
could
until
have
he comes
been
back. Hopefully, he
really
uses
good
his
for
phone,
Stevie to maybe do the tour
to
and
get
get
back
some of that
on.
money
This episode is just
to go
fucking
back, but, I
jinxed.
mean, he did it his way,
But
and he
yeah, I'm gonna
wasn't gonna
just stay on live.
compromise and, all
I'm
that,
texting
so,
him right now. Use your fucking phone because his phone, when he logs in with his phone on this fucking platform, it's crystal clear and he stays on. But he logs in with his crappy laptop and he just drops off every now and then, like he just did. So hopefully he does that. He's texting me right now. So yeah, he should be back on. So but now I'm just gonna keep talking because I'm gonna already have to do enough editing on this fucking thing. Um so he signs with Epic Records, he decides to focus on Double Trouble. Uh and they released their debut album, Texas Flood, in 1983. Texas Flood is recorded in 3 days with minimal overdubs. So, because they're a tight band, they're just, "Oh, welcome back, Brett. We're talking about Texas Flood." Um,
hey.
so they're a really tight band, so they can record Texas Flood in 3 days with minimal overdubs, and it's got hits on it like Pride and Joy and Love Struck Baby. Just a classic, solid album. What are your thoughts on Texas Flood?
One thing, Texas Flood was that basically recorded all those songs one take, and that was the demo, and it was just that good that they put it out. It was not they didn't, do any other takes. Um, that was just all,
They were
uh
so tight from all those years. It's like when Van Halen, aside from David Lee Roth's vocals, which had to kind of be pieced together, when Van Halen recorded Van Halen 1, they were able to lay down those instrumental tracks pretty, pretty easily, because 'cause they just been gigging for years. So they're tight, they
Yeah.
got the songs, they just go in the studio and just lay that shit down, and that's what SRV and Double Trouble were able to do on this first album.
Yeah, they were, on fire at that point. But Texas Floods just the whole album, start to finish, is a classic. It's just amazing, and I think blues at that time, people were into ZZ Top. People knew BB King and Buddy Guy, but this I really think Double Trouble, Texas Flood, this was a shot in the arm for the blues.
Especially in that era, the early '80s when everything was drum machines and synthesizers and
Yeah,
only
yeah,
only bands like Devo could make that work, and most of it just sounded like shit, and you had this just solid '70s blues rock style rock band making new albums and touring. I remember seeing him on David Letterman, and just that's what got me into him. That's what inspired me to buy a Stratocaster. I went out and bought a
wow,
Stratocaster after, and, uh it was just so refreshing, bands like Van Halen and Double Trouble, just organic, analog, plug-in rock and roll,
yeah.
you
What
know?
what you and I would call real music, and I mean, it was around. There were plenty of bands, but this just it's funny. It's not new. It's not, you put it on and go, okay, it's a bluesy rock album, but it just set everyone on their ear. They
Yeah,
were like, oh my God, have you heard this new? It's so new. And it really wasn't, but, um,
it was new to
you
us,
know, yeah,
new to
yeah,
you.
new to you.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, Texas Flood just, there's just, it's such a classic record. Yeah, could rave that. We've touched on this. Just a great record. I like the illustration that Brad Holland did for the cover. The cover's kind of airbrushed image of Stevie against the wall, I guess. But it's
yeah.
just a very cool cover.
Yeah, no, it's a good album cover, the whole package is good. Solid album. They tour on after they drop that album, they tour extensively. They're opening for the Moody Blues. The Moody Blues had kind of a comeback hit around that time.
Yeah,
Odd pairing, actually, but,
yeah, I had that record. My dad got that for me, and I'm like, really? All the
yeah,
Moody Blues I listened to, but it was a good record.
yeah. I forget the name of the song, but
It
it
was
was a
called Vision, and there were like 3 tracks on that
yeah, it was
that
like it
were
was like that Yes album, that came out around
90210.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the last gasp, album from a '70s rock band, where
yeah.
they have their last batch of hits before they
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
become a legacy act. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
A greatest hits, jukebox band.
yeah.
Um, so Couldn't Stand the Weather comes out, that just before the summer of '84. I remember the Olympics were on in LA. My dad's roommate had this cassette and played it constantly. Definitely my exposure to quite a few bands came from, my dad's roommate, um, playing stuff
Frank,
like this. Yeah,
Frank,
Frank.
yeah, yeah,
Um, 'Cause there's a great cover of Voodoo Child. That was it for me. I was always into Hendrix, and
yeah.
that cover was just
I mean, and that's
fire.
that's a pretty ballsy thing to do is, you're a relatively new cat, and, on the scene, dropping your first couple albums and throwing in a a cover of Voodoo Child. That's like covering, Eruption or something, you know?
Yeah,
It's a
but,
ballsy
you
move,
wonder.
and he pulls it off. It's an
Yeah.
amazing, awesome, killer cover, you know?
You wonder how much of that they played back in the '70s. It may have been,
Well, I'm sure it was a staple of the live
yeah,
gigs,
I mean, I totally get saying it's a ballsy thing, but they might have been like, "Yeah, whatever," and just burn that out.
For sure, yeah, but to lay that down, I mean, covering
Yeah.
Hendrix,
Oh,
I don't know,
yeah,
especially that song.
Yeah,
Great.
he does a great, cover of Guitar Slim's, Things I Used to Do on that record, um, and some of that got me deeper into exploring the blues where you had names that you could go in. Used to go to the Metronome. It was a blues. Well, it wasn't a blues. It was a record store, but they had a very extensive blues on vinyl when you went in there. I think it was a Turtles, and then it was called the Metronome. It was a record store to the right, when you got down to Peachtree and Monroe?
I remember that. Yeah, I remember
Okay.
that. Yeah, I
And,
used to go in there. You is it up on the second floor, right?
well, this was stairs up from the, parking lot, but it was, like, all glass, and,
Yeah.
it was I don't know that there was a
I went
second.
I went there once or twice, yeah,
Yeah,
back in the day.
um, but I basically, you know, telling Frank I really wanted to get, blues people, and, he was showing me Guitar Slim, just he's like, "Look at the writing credits," and you got Guitar Slim, Freddie King's Hideaway is, bonus tracks on the reissue of the CD, um, Tin Pan Alley, you know, but, definitely I remember going in and getting a Hound Dog Taylor record, because he covers "Gimme Back My Wig," which is a great song. Um, I had a Hound Dog Taylor record. Um, Snags had got me a Muddy Waters cassette when I turned 17, and that was cool.
Yeah, I had a it's probably the one that I had on vinyl. I had, like, a Muddy Waters on vinyl at the time.
Yeah, I don't know that it was the greatest hits, but it was some kind of Muddy Waters thing.
Yeah.
Um, but those were key, and just, because blues can be kind of like, oh, where do I even start?
I'm
And
wearing my, Mississippi John Hurt shirt tonight, so
nice.
yeah.
I I got my Slayer Live Undead shirt on.
Hey, somewhere in between those 2 is Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, this has gravestones on it,
Yeah.
but yeah. So couldn't stand the weather. Now these first three albums, 83 to 85, and Soul to Soul is next. This was their heavy, heavy drug era where people close to the band, tour managers and things, were literally leaving the camp because they couldn't sit by and watch the amount of abuse that was going on.
Stevie was a big cocaine and whiskey kinda guy.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
their argument at the time was, "Well, we can still go out on stage and burn this place down," so they weren't, too concerned, but it
Until
catches up, you know?
until in 1986 on a European tour, he collapsed on stage.
Right.
That's when he's like, "Okay, I guess that argument doesn't hold water anymore," and he goes into rehab in Georgia. He's supported by his mother, and Eric Clapton was around to give him encouragement. Clapton was already sober by that time, so by the end of '86, he gets sober, and, that changed a lot for him. Things were looking up after that.
Yeah, so real quick, Soul to Soul, um, there's a story where, they're in the studio recording that record, and Clapton's kinda visiting, and, Stevie sends a roadie onto a private jet to fly down to some restaurant in Texas to get a catered order, and then they get back on the jet and come back to the studio with all these ribs and
Yeah, it was a
and
special
stuff.
kind of barbecue that you could only get in Texas. He was like, "You
Yeah,
gotta
which
try this shit." Yeah.
yeah, I mean it'd be like flying somebody up to Atlanta to get Fat Matt's Rib Shack. Uh,
Yeah.
good
That's,
stuff, but,
that's Sky Dash. That's not DoorDash, that's Sky
right,
Dash.
Skydash. Um, so, Soul to Soul has one of my favorite songs, "Change It" is on there, and, they do Earl King's "Come On" Part 3, which, Hendrix had covered. Um, uh, "Ain't Gonna Give Up on Love" is another just tremendous, Stevie song. Look at Little Sister. This You'll Be Mine, just a great this is a great, record. But, by '86, they're trying to dry out and rehab. The record label had them put out Live Alive, and they hated this live album. I know for us, I was in ninth grade. I remember Jason Valentine had the cassette, and it was amazing.
And it
Uh,
had a killer cover of Superstition on it, which is
yeah, and I
essential
think there
Stevie.
was a live video too.
Yeah, the Superstition was the single, and there was a live
Yeah.
video for that. I don't recall if there was a live video for the whole album, but,
Yeah, I don't know if there was a whole VHS for Live Alive or
yeah, but that I mean, that it was probably recorded before he got sober, so then once he got sober, he was just like, that uh, when you're a genius musician. And
yeah,
I've got friends, like, I'm not a real musician. I can dingle around on some scales and some chords, but I've got friends who are, like, real musicians, and they'll play something, like, I've gone to see friends of mine's bands, and it just sounds killer, and they're like, "Oh, we messed up on the 3rd verse. I was, I hit a couple bum notes in the solo." And so, when you're just flying on cocaine and whiskey, and you think you're sounding great, and you're so good that 99% of the audience think you're sounding awesome too, and
yeah,
then you sober up and you go back and listen to it, you're hearing those mistakes here and there that you won't be making anymore and
yeah,
cringing.
yeah. But the live thing they do, Superstition, I'm Leaving You, Commit a Crime, Cold Shot, Willie the Wimp. This is just a great set. Um, Love Struck Baby and Texas Flood were their big showstoppers. Um, but yeah, Live Alive, and
And
some of that
this
was
is where Double Trouble, the backing band expands to 3 people. They got Reese Winans on keyboards.
right.
And the thing is, the record company, when they added Reese Winans, they wanted him to change the name of the band to, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Triple Threat.
Well, that
And
would have been good.
yeah, but he's like, "It's already called Double Trouble." There's a
Yeah.
Otis Rush song called Double Trouble. That's what he named the band after.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's stupid. I'm gonna change the name of my backing band every time we add a saxophone player. So now it's gonna be
Exactly.
Quadruple Killer, or,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can't just it's stupid.
Foreplay.
Yeah, there you go. Five Alive.
Yeah. Uh, the some of Live Alive was recorded at the Montreux Jazz Festival. What's cool is there's a '82 jazz festival and '85 jazz festival. They put them together as a double CD of them live, and you get both complete concerts. Um, so that's kind of cool, to hear them in.
I'm sure you have that on vinyl
No,
hanging
just
on your wall.
CD, just CD.
Gotta
Uh,
have,
like
extra
yeah.
bonus
Um,
stuff.
but so then in '86, he's like fully sober and puts out just a fucking amazing record, In Step. Um, this came out in June of
80
'89,
89, yeah, it was 89.
and House is Rockin',
Crossfire,
Crossfire.
yeah.
He had also done Pipeline for MTV around this time, maybe right before it, or it's not on the record, but uh, it's that cover of the uh, they did Telstar. Anyway, the song's called Pipeline. They were a surf.
What the
surf
is
guitar.
that the Ventures?
The Ventures, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and that was like for some MTV houseboat party thing, and they were on there. I believe they're jamming with Dick Dale as well. So that was like super cool. Um, and that again, watching that got me. I tracked down who Dick Dale was, and got in brief flirtations with surf guitar stuff. And in the 80s and 90s, it's not like now. You had very limited. You didn't. The stuff was either
You
not
could
in
just
print, or you
listen,
weren't just gonna
listen,
find it.
listen, kids. It wasn't as easy as now. You can just search it on Spotify and make a playlist. Back
Yeah,
then,
and
you had to go from one record store to another. Hey, do you have any Dick Dale? No.
yeah, and
Then you
you're not talking to someone that likes music. You're talking to a kid who's making $8 an hour and doesn't
right.
care. So,
And
yeah.
if you didn't have a car, you'd have to get on the MARTA bus and pay more money to go to another record s "Do you have any Dick Dale?" And by now, it's snowing and raining outside, so you're
Yeah,
trudging through the bad weather in
you've spent
search of
4
your
hours. Yeah,
yeah, it's just you don't know how good you have it now, you spoiled bastards.
yeah. So, but yeah, Instep, House is Rockin', Crossfire, Tightrope, um, Leave My Girl Alone, Love Me Darling, Riviera Paradise is, instrumental, just phenomenal. This whole record was great, and this would be his last,
Good
studio
record.
album.
Well, no,
Yeah.
his last studio album was, Family Style, which was terrible.
Yeah, well, that's a that's him and his brother, but,
Yeah.
um and then posthumously, The Sky Is Crying was a collection of, things that, just had not made records yet. I guarantee had he not died, I'm sure some of this would have ended up on some albums, but possibly some of it never would have seen the light of day. So, it's hard to say.
It's hard to say, but, yeah, Family Style, I remember when hearing that was coming out, because by then, Jimmy Vaughan had achieved some national fame in the Fabulous Thunderbirds. They broke out, and had some hits, and so then the rest of the whole world knows who Stevie Ray Vaughan is, who became famous nationally first, and they all know who Jimmy Vaughan is, and they're like, "Oh my god, they're doing an album together. This is gonna just melt my face." And then
Yeah,
you put it
yeah.
on, and it's a bunch of just watered down pop
Yeah, it was really
garbage.
weak.
Yeah.
But 91 had Sky Is Crying. 92, they put out a thing called In the Beginning, which was a live album. It would be his second live album, but this was went out over the um where is it? April 1st, 1980, at Steamboat in Austin, Texas. It was broadcast live on the radio. So it was really cool that some things were coming out. Um, Sky is Crying was amazing. And then this In the Beginning came out, and we were like, oh my God, listen to this. And the live stuff was a lot better. And then in 95, they put out a greatest hits that had Taxman. And I remember I sent you a link for Taxman. That should go in the click pit. For some reason, I guess legalities, Taxman is not available to stream. So it is on that Stevie Ray Vaughan greatest hits. They came out in 1995. Um, but Taxman, his cover of Taxman is really good. And then 97, they released a live another live thing, live at Carnegie Hall from a 1984 benefit concert, and that's another just he was on fire. Granted, it was in their drug days, but they were just unstoppable.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
Live at Carnegie. Then another greatest hits comes out. There's nothing on this volume two that's not. on the albums if you have Live Alive. That cover of Pipeline is on there actually, and then a uh, a live cut with Buddy Guy, "Leave My Girl Alone," which was on Instep, and then Family Style, the telephone song. I think is the only uh, decent song on that Family Style thing, but just not the hardcore rocker bluesy stuff that we're used to. That Family Style is just not that good. And had he lived, I think they had such a good time. The book that we both read about his life, I feel like they would have done like two or three more uh, compilations together. Uh, a Family Style Part Two. Um,
You
it
would
just
think
seemed
you would think that they would have learned their lesson and released a good blues rock album together or 2 after
something,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like Albert King's In Session album, that is crucial, and that's Albert King and Stevie, and that is
Yeah.
a great
He did
thing
an
to track
album with,
down.
Albert King, yeah.
Um, and then in 2000, there's a thing called Blues at Sunrise, which it was released like 10 years after his death, and it's got unreleased songs from Stevie Ray Vaughan. Um, Unreleased, they're just different versions. So a lot of this has been on other albums, um, versions of these songs. But just like Jimi Hendrix, um, they never seem to play the song the same way twice. Uh, so this Blues at Sunrise is cool if you can track that down. Um, and then DVDs, you have to get Live at El Macambo. That is one of the best concerts they did. It is just filthy. Um, he's like sweating bullets, covered in sweat, soaking wet, just singing his heart out. Live at El Macambo is amazing. I know there's a DVD collection. It's even streaming, but it's like a complete live thing. And I believe that El Macambo is listed in there, so you can definitely check that out. Um,
Cool, cool.
so that is
Stevie Ray
short and
Vaughan.
sweet. That is
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. But Texas Flood: The Inside Story of SRV by Alan Paul and Andy Aladort. That is a really good book.
Yeah, it's
Um,
killer book.
it just
Yeah.
puts you right there. I know towards his death, we did talk about that briefly, but um, they had gone in to play this last show, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was in a really healthy relationship. The one before, they were doing drugs, and just having her around caused a lot of shit. Much like Joe Perry's wife with
Yeah.
Aerosmith. This
Or
girl was
or
a lot.
your first wife.
Yeah, just hellacious to deal with, but
Yeah.
uh did we discuss his death in detail prior? This
Yeah,
show's been
we
interrupted so much.
we opened with it.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So full circle. Stevie goes on to another realm, but these albums are just so good. They're timeless. I definitely marathon these at least twice a year. You just can't beat it. And surprisingly, when I put these together, I did a playlist for the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and those first few albums are very surprisingly good blues. Not quite the rocking that you get with Stevie Ray Vaughan, um, but just very blues purist type, uh, really good stuff. So. Uh,
Yeah,
Definitely
so
check that out. So you should have a link for that too in the playlist
yeah,
stuff.
we'll get
But
all that shit on the click pit.
yeah. So yeah, that's Stevie Ray Vaughan. I think going forward we'll just use my phone since this didn't crap out. I don't
Yeah.
understand it because I've got a full thing on my laptop, but
Well,
this allows me I can what's that?
we recorded a Pantera episode, a Mastodon episode, and a Dave Mustaine Megadeth episode on this new platform with your laptop without incident. So,
Yeah, so
maybe it's the ghost of Stevie just
I don't know, but I
fucking
think
with us.
this works because I can have research up on the laptop. It's a bigger screen,
It's
and I
better.
can
You sound
talk
much clearer. I'm
on the
sure the
phone. Sounds
audience
good.
is just digging hearing all this
Oh,
behind
they're
the scenes
riveted,
stuff.
sure.
But,
Uh,
it sounds much better. Your signal's much clearer, so definitely use the phone from now on. So,
and just real quick on the way out, new release by Steve, who from Wet Shoelaces.
yeah, Steve Gregory from Wet Shoelaces dropped a new one. I got that email too.
Yeah,
Uh, it
so
is
definitely mention that.
called, uh, Beat Music Volume 9. So
Nice,
there you go. Beat Music
and
Volume 9. Steve
and
Gregory of Wet Shoelaces.
I
Oh,
know our fans are. Go ahead.
and I have to mention, since the elder did come up in the conversation, I've been reading reading this book about the elder, and so I started googling, who covered some of these songs, and there's a band called Ancient Door. I think they're from Sweden, and they were formed specifically to cover the entire Elder album. So if you search
God.
Ancient Door, the Elder on Spotify, they cover the entire album, and they add some sonic dimension. I must say, it's an interesting experience.
So instead of just listening to the album, you could pull up Sonic Door and listen to them do it.
Ancient Door. Yeah, well, you can
Ancient
do
Door.
both. You can do both.
Wow.
But anyways, there you
That's a
have it.
great idea. I know I'm gonna jump right out,
I know you'll be immediately
check that
doing that,
out.
just right away. Yeah.
Um, but this Friday, one last thing, I'll be going to see the Iron Maidens at Rockin' Margarita Rita's Rhythm House down here in
Oh, that mega coliseum, Margarita's Rita's
yes,
Rhythm House? Yeah.
it's a small club. Bizarrely, back in my hunting days, I went there all the time, and it was called Sidelines. And uh, now it's this place with a stage. So we'll see. And maybe next week, the next show, I'll give a review of how the Iron Maidens
Yeah,
were.
definitely. Yeah.
Um, so uh, anyway,
C cool, cool. Alright, people. Well, thanks for hanging in there with us during this endless
yeah, we'll
odyssey.
piece this together, and it'll be like an hour and a half show, but you'll be like, you won't
It's
realize
actually
that 6 months in the making.
it's gonna be more like 50 to 55 minutes, but that's fine. Um,
Yeah,
it took forever to schedule it, took forever to record it, and assuming this recording isn't screwed up somehow, this will be done. So we'll see. I'll find out when I
we'll
try to edit
see.
it.
All
All right,
right, man.
y'all. Peace out.
Deuces.